Welcome back to Real Estate UnRaked, where we break down the home buying process and, of course, we unrake it. I'm your host, Eric, along with Dane, Bridget, and Pam, and today we're tackling the hidden costs that you can't afford to miss.
We're going to talk about what you need to do before you ever sign that dotted line.
We'll be covering what happens after you've got the keys and the surprises that might pop up.
This is where we dig deep into the details so you can avoid those hidden costs like a pro.
So let's get into it. Due diligence before closing, why it matters, and how it can save you big time later. Let's unrake it.
Let's do it.
All right. Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Hello.
How we doing on this brisk morning?
loving it. Loving it.
May need a little blanket, but we're doing good.
Yes. Can't complain, though.
Good,
Can't
good.
complain.
Well, before we jump into today's topic, dad joke.
Uh-oh.
Why can you not hear a pterodactyl use the bathroom?
This one I would have absolutely no idea.
Because he doesn't fit in one.
Because the P is silent.
Oh,
My gosh.
But bump.
I know, right?
wow.
Cue symbol.
Wah, wah.
Here we go. All right. Well, today we're going to tackle something that a lot of buyers don't know about. And if they do, they only find out about it during the process of buying a home. And it's all about education for us. And we love to explain this because there's a lot that goes into this due diligence process when you make an offer. And you can even start that process before you actually put an offer on a home. So, Dane, tell me the due diligence process. What do you think?
Well, when we talk about due diligence in real estate, we're really talking about the buyer's homework period. That window of time to dig in, inspect, and verify that what you're buying is exactly what you think it is. It's not about being paranoid. It's about being smart.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. So what are some of the things that we address during our due diligence period? Obviously, we have home inspection. So like the full home inspection we want to do. We want to do a wind mit and mitigation report.
4-point.
The 4-point as well. And then you got your WDO. So let's kind of like break that down a little bit. So full inspection. What are we covering on the full inspection?
All
Almost
mechanical
everything.
components of the home, all structural components of the home. So that would be your roof, your foundation, windows, trim, everything around the trim. Anything that, one of the basic points of an inspection is being sure that moisture is not penetrating the structure in any way whatsoever.
Yes.
And on the inside, it's all your mechanicals, even your AC, your air handler, your water heater, your appliances, and general plumbing and electrical, anything that functions within the home.
Yeah. So you're hitting mechanical cost, future expenses that's going to come up for the buyer after they purchase the home. And it's just going to affect longevity of the house as well and value.
Yep.
So that's the overall in the full inspection. The 4-point is, what is that really designed for? Is that designed more for like insurance companies and stuff like that and financial stuff? Not so much the full inspection. I think the full inspection could be more derived around consumer knowledge, the person that's buying it and getting all the full details and peeling back a few layers and finding out what's going on. The 4-point's more kind of designed of, here's your 4 basic points of the home. This is what it's at. Boom, boom, boom. And we usually pass that along to the financial people, the mortgage lenders, and the insurance companies, along with that wind mitigation report.
Right. Because those can have bearing on your insurance rates.
Yes, absolutely. So what other things do we have in the inspection? You've got that WDO. What's the WDO, Dane?
Wood destroying organisms. And that includes anything from wood rot, termites, anything that will affect the structural part of the house.
Yeah. And they actually inspect for previous damage along with any active damage that's currently going on. And that stuff is all addressed. Usually when you have like an FHA or a VA loan, that report is crucial. And it's actually it's required.
Yeah, it is required. You cannot do an FHA or VA without that. And the repairs must be made prior to closing.
Well, let me ask you this. On due diligence, when we're in this process, it's usually 15 days. Some people do 7, some people do 10. When we dive into this, what are some other reports or inspections that we need to get. Let's say, for example, a manufactured home. What are some of the other things besides the full inspection, the 4-point, the wind mitigation report? What is some of the other inspections? Do you guys know? Well, you got structural engineer report you have to get done. That is super important. Most generally, when you have a manufactured home, it's usually on land down here in Florida. So you're going to be looking at a septic tank that's going to need inspections.
Yep.
You're going to have to get a water test along with that well inspection.
Well inspection, yep.
Because most of that stuff isn't going to be on your public services. Now, you're going to run into things in Northeast Florida, like that's in town, that may be still on a septic or may have an additional well. Anything that requires that and what your loan is set up for. So if it's FHA or VA, that stuff is going to be required that you have to pay for.
Correct.
Yes, it is upfront cost, but what it's doing, it's giving the buyers peace of mind and making sure you're not going to run into any future surprises.
And the cost will be way more.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this beyond the inspection part. Let's talk about title search. Why is that so important?
I mean, it helps ensures that the property has no liens or legal issues on it. So if something has been not paid off, like work getting done, anything of that, it's not on you as a buyer to handle that.
That's right. That's right. That
Big part.
Usually the title company's handling that. And if we got to do any additional due diligence and stuff like that, we'll look at it. We'll look at county records, stuff like that.
Correct.
You'll run into where, let's say that you're in a neighborhood and the city's doing something, but yet the city inspector hasn't done a final walkthrough, or they forget it, or they move on. You'll have those little small hidden liens. It's not something that's super big. It just needs something that needs to be signed off on. And it could have never really affected the property. It could have affected the easement on the property.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff gets addressed. And sometimes it's very, very easy to get it resolved. And it's stuff like that as us as real estate agents will do to make sure that's taken care of.
Yeah.
So beyond that due diligence period, we have normally 15 days to do all this stuff. Okay. What happens if we find something wrong?
We got to contact a licensed contractor to do any repairs that may be deemed necessary.
Okay. Get estimates.
Get estimates. Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of going through that whole motion of sending it up for the client, helping them out, showing them what the true cost is going to be. So let's say we get all that information. Okay. We have all that information wrapped up. We know exactly what we need after reviewing that. Before our due diligence periods ends, what is the thing that we usually do when we pass it on if we're representing the buyer?
We request of the seller to expedite these repairs ahead of closing, or negotiate an allowance to enable that
Correct.
to be done, or price reduction.
Yeah, we submit the repair request, and we're asked, just like Pam said, we're asking for seller credits, repairs to be done, and a few other things. So kind of dive in a little bit deeper with that. If we do negotiate what we're doing with repairs, especially fine tuning, we don't have to worry about it as much with conventional and cash deals. But when we run into FHA, VA, let's say we do find some wood rot. Let's say that on your investor's property,
Right.
we have some paint chip issues. Okay. And knowing it's older homes, when you have investors and stuff, anything that's prior to 1975, what does that run into? Lead-based paint, right?
Exactly.
So what do we got to do with that? We got to make sure that that's done, because we know that the appraiser is going to come in and ding that. So requirements for FHA, VA, we're going to make sure that that wood rot's addressed as soon as possible, because we know it's going to end up being what we call a financial contingency due to the appraisal report. And we always like to have a clean appraisal report. Why? Because it's usually that comes around probably the last week and a half before closing day. And everybody's really excited, and you don't want any more red flags or roadblocks or anything that's going to have to delay closing for them. Because the client is really happy about trying to get into the house. And at the same time, they're like, oh gosh, something else. And the seller's more like, we just want it solved.
Right.
Exactly.
So those are super important. So being proactive and having the knowledge up front, you know what you can ask for from the seller during our due diligence, that we can make ahead of time, we can resolve that so we don't run into that problem. Being proactive is super, super smart for agents, And that's why experience is so important. And that's something that we just do automatically.
Right.
Yeah. One other thing I'd like to add about the due diligence period would be securing your homeowner's insurance. Because I can't tell you how many times someone has waited till the 11th hour to get their homeowner's insurance. And then they find out, oh, the seller had a fire claim on their home a year and a half ago, and they didn't disclose that. Or just certain things, or a flood of some sort, that an insurance company may not want to insure the buyer because of a previous claim. So that's really good information to find out during your due diligence period rather than, at the tail end of the transaction. So I always encourage buyers to secure that, or at least get some quotes, because it will come up in the insurance company's assessment of that property.
Yeah, because usually can't close on a house until you have binded insurance. So that's a great subject as we kind of talk about this a little bit more. Doing it early is great. The flood insurance is such a big topic too, because you run into that. And, not all houses on the same street are created equal. We got the FEMA map that we use and a couple other things that we pay attention to. So you could have one house across the street that requires flood insurance and one house that doesn't. It just all depends on the landscape, where you're at and what you got. So you really do have to, when you look at a property, really dive really, really deep into that. And that's most of the things that we do and we help our clients out with.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, any house that I show my buyers, I always look at the FEMA map, because in Florida, you just don't know where. Like you said, it could be across the street where it's required and the other side is not. So that's huge anytime you're dealing with buyers, for sure.
I mean, we could do an entire episode what
Florida.
each zone is and what it requires. And, I guess one quick little tidbit of information is wetlands. Even though it's listed maybe in the wetlands aren't necessarily mean water.
That's right.
Yep.
You've got protected vegetation, protected animals. There's a lot of things that go into that that's underneath that category of wetlands. So you need to you just need to figure that out.
Right.
Just know wetlands doesn't mean water.
And overall, the buyer just needs to know how much their homeowner's insurance is going to be, because those expenses have gone up. And you don't want to get into a situation where their loan to value for their loan is thrown off because of the cost of homeowner's insurance, and then they don't even qualify for a loan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Finding it out during due diligence, I think, is imperative.
Yes, ma'am. You are correct. What other costs do we kind of check out for the customer when we're doing our due diligence? HOA, CDD, if that's in the mix?
Yeah, you got to confirm all the HOA rules and cost and all that. That you don't want to be surprised on that, because that will bite them in the butt every time.
Well, those costs are all incorporated on a monthly or a yearly basis. Is usually what you see.
Mm-hmm.
HOAs, most of them in the neighborhoods, like for example, Fleming Island, have a yearly HOA,
right?
But they have an annual CDD, and you just need to look at all the requirements on that. Wouldn't it be nice to know, if you get into a neighborhood, how healthy the CDD is and the HOA is? Because what if you get into a neighborhood with a failing HOA? Is that going to be more of a cost to each resident that lives in that neighborhood if we didn't do our due diligence?
Yep.
Nothing worse than moving into a home and 6 months to a year later, you find out there's some additional expense because the board hasn't been taking care of the money properly.
Right.
And it's not like where you can say as a homeowner, no, we're not going to do that. You moved into an HOA.
Yeah.
You are going to be required to handle that.
And they'll put a lien on your house in a minute.
Yep. The same thing goes like if you move into like a townhome community, condo community, all that kind of stuff. You got to pay attention to see what costs they're going to take care of, what you're responsible for as the owner. Like, for example, you can move into a multifamily building that has a shared roof. Is that something that the HOA is going to take care of? Or is that something that's split between each resident that owns that building? More than likely, that's what it is. It's shared between each resident.
Right.
And then going back into the neighborhoods, we have all these great amenities. You see all these new communities with these huge resort style pools and all that stuff. 25 years down the road, what happens? Things need to be fixed. Things need to be repaired. If you don't have the HOA that's managing that and foreseeing that, when they go and make those repairs, where's the cost get funneled down to?
The homeowner.
Assessments
To the homeowners.
Yeah,
homeowners.
homeowner.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. So there's a lot of things that you got to look at. There's a lot of things that we as real estate agents focus on for the buyer or the seller for that matter.
Mhm.
You know, that we try to make sure that it's all good. So we get through all that stuff because it's just not about writing an offer and then finding what the inspection guy says and then throwing a repair request and then hopefully everything goes good or we agree on some adjustments and then woohoo, we're on to closing. No, we're not. Well, we still have to wait on the appraisal. We still have to wait on a few other things. I mean, that goes more into talking about the entire process of buying a home. But one of the last things with due diligence is our final walkthrough.
Right. 100%.
So what do we do during that final walkthrough for a customer the day of closing?
I mean, that just helps ensure that the buyer's aware of like any changes or last minute issues that need to be handled prior to fully funding and closing on the home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also verifies repairs and agreements that were
Right.
made at the
Bingo.
beginning.
Exactly. And that everything's been paid for.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
Repairs have been
Pending.
paid for. Get those paid receipts.
Yep. Yeah. You definitely want to do that. And two, I mean, that's just a visual verification that it's been done. And more than likely, you or us as real estate agents have probably already been through that with the other agent and the seller and made sure that those repairs were taken care of prior to that.
Absolutely.
This was just going to be more of a visual thing for the buyer and say, hey, yeah, I'm good with these repairs. Everything looks good. So let's go ahead and move forward with the purchase. So I tell you what I want to remind the listeners is to, take their time, ask questions, and lead toward the professionals during the due diligence process. If you feel that there's a lot of things that we missed, there's things that you have questions about, leave a comment for us. Send us a message. We'll answer those questions for you. Tell us what we missed during this conversation about due diligence. Because ultimately, I'll tell you, there's a reason why you don't do due diligence in a couple days.
Right.
Why? Because things get overlooked, things get missed.
Right.
That's why going back through all of it, having multiple eyes on it is so important for a buyer.
Mhm.
Because this is one thing, and it's funny because I heard this today, and it kind of reaffirmed what I was thinking was this. Buying a home is probably one of the most expensive and most important things in anyone's life. So why not have a bunch of eyes on it, a bunch of opinions on it, come to a good conclusion and take care of that?
100%.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's jump into the featured area of this week. And we are going to focus on Nocatee. Nocatee is an area that's super popular. It's across the river from Clay County, and it has a lot of new construction, a lot of businesses. Dane, what do you think about it?
I think it's a great community. It's the location you can't beat. It's between Jacksonville, St. Augustine, and it's one of Northeast Florida's most desired, master plan communities. And the housing ranges from townhomes, starting at 400,000 basically to $1 million homes. So there's a wide variety for everybody out there, and the amenities they have out there are second to none.
Yeah, I was going to highlight those amenities there at Nocatee because those are newer communities and everything like that. Again, buyers, watch out for HOA,
Yeah.
right? Like we talked about.
Oh, we got the backs. Don't worry about that.
But it is unreal when I drive through those communities. It is like you are living in your own paradise in Nocatee.
Yeah, it's
in
like,
some ways.
yeah, it's a small town charm with
Yep.
resort style living. I mean,
Mhm.
it's hard to
Exactly.
beat. It really is. And then, you're less than 20 minutes from the ocean.
Yeah.
20 minutes from the ocean. You got 9B that runs through there. You got 210 that runs through there. US 1 that runs through there.
Access to everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's in St. Johns County. So those school systems,
Are
Phenomenal.
amazing.
Top
Yeah.
notch. Top notch.
I would say it's good for anybody really, but young families. I've noticed a lot of families down there.
Family friendly,
Mhm.
golf cart friendly
The whole
community.
area. Yeah.
And you can take your golf cart up to the Publix shopping center where they've got restaurants and businesses and there's everything for a family to enjoy. Jogging trails galore everywhere. They've got the boat launch just south of on the, I don't even know my direction, east, going towards the ocean.
Yep.
But they've got the boat launches, and they've got kayaking,
Kayak
and
launches and dog
the
parks.
humongous splash park. And then there are many of the communities within Nocatee have their own separate pools and clubhouses as well. And it's just, I mean, it's a paradise for families. It really honestly is.
Agreed.
And, it's Ponte Vedra. And then getting to the beach, you've got Michler's, you've got Ponte Vedra Beach, and take A1A up or down, up to Jack's Beach, down to St. Augustine very easily. So great location.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that area.
Golf over there is great.
Yeah.
You're starting to see a lot of these newer communities get into more of the golf cart community. I really wish Fleming Island would be that way.
Yeah. Well, Eagle Harbor is, but you can't go beyond Eagle Harbor. You can't take your golf cart up
On your golf cart, like you can't go on the road.
You can, but you cannot go to the shopping centers. They don't have
Interesting.
parking spaces for golf carts at the shopping centers.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it really is.
We should, of course, because Green Cove is.
Yeah, Green Cove, the whole city, you can drive a golf cart as long as you stay on the sidewalks anywhere in Green Cove Springs.
I did not know
I
that.
didn't
Yeah,
either.
I live in
Okay.
Magnolia Point and love doing that. Love it.
So, I mean, honestly, with the growth that Nocatee's doing, I mean, E-Town's over there.
I was going to mention E-Town. Those are some fun developments over there.
Yeah, absolutely, they are. I mean, what you're seeing over there now is what you're going to see in Clay County in about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So, if you've missed the wagon for Nocatee and all you can focus on is a little bit of resale over there, the news coming over here, it's going to be the same thing.
Yep.
Right.
Because Northeast Florida living is awesome. As a matter of fact, we get a little season change up here, don't we?
Yeah, I'm loving it today. Loving the
What
weather.
was it, 84, 87 yesterday? And the high today is like, what?
55 or something. It is sunny though. So you're still getting the warmth of the sun.
Yeah. If you're moving,
nice.
if you're moving to Florida for absolutely heat all the time, well, you need to go south of Orlando.
That's correct.
But if you're looking for something that still has a little bit of season change, just because we're getting into the holidays now, people are accepting to that weather.
Yeah.
They want that.
100%.
Yeah.
So why not, right?
Yeah. Northeast Florida is kind of like South Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. There was a map that they had on the internet one time where it said Southern Georgia and it rolled it all the way down just above Orlando.
Yeah,
and
I
then
saw
you get
that.
into-
Yeah.
There's no Central Florida, and then just the rest of it's Florida.
Right.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to wrap up this episode, and we covered the due diligence process pretty good. I think we highlighted some really detailed points on that, and then we covered the Nocatee area. So I tell you, thanks for tuning in to Real Estate UnRaked. This is where we're peeling back the layers of hidden home buyer cost, from the due diligence surprises to post-closing expenses like insurance, HOA, and CD fees.
If this episode helped you avoid a costly mistake or opened your eyes to something you didn't know, do us a favor and share it with someone else who's house hunting right now.
And don't forget, you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. Just search Real Estate UnRaked and hit the follow button so you can never miss an episode.
We're also on YouTube. Head over to the Rakers Home Group, where you will find community tours, home walkthroughs, and full video versions of this podcast.
That's right. We're starting that today, actually.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Put a
Can't
pic
wait
to
to
the
see it.
names and the voice.
And we got a couple other things going on, which we'll talk about in our next episode. But as always, if you're ready to buy, sell, or just get honest advice without the fluff, you got the home team advantage right here with us. So next time, keep your questions coming, and we'll keep unraking the real estate world one episode at a time. We'll see you next week.